have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world. When you hit that play button, this is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina. So glad that you're here and we get to spend this time together. Hope you enjoyed those episodes that I shared, the previous two, really looking at releasing some of that realism and embracing idealism. And I hope you know the reason that we do this because everything is energy and frequency. And we have to live from the energy of the ideal that we have created in mind, using the power of our imagination and drawing on the invisible. Why is this so important? Well, I hope today's episode will get you a little excited about all of this because I was going deeper and, just my own study and research, not necessarily for the show. And, I came across something that was stated in a piece a colleague was doing, and I thought about that, and I wanted to go and verify it and look deeper into it because it excited me and fascinated me and was mysterious at the same time. And I've heard similar things before, but I just wanted to dig deeper underneath it. And so I'm going to use that today as sort of our motivation to actually move us into a dedication, a recommitment to our intention for the ideal life we want to create this year, right here, right now. And he said 96% of what we experience, 96% of what we were experience in this world is invisible. Only 4% is visible, measurable, and quantifiable. So I'm going, wow, that's so much. Now I've heard the numbers 3%, 4%, but is so much more that we don't even see. Now, when I was talking about embracing idealism, the energy of what we want to be, do, and have, I invited you to abandon that realism, looking to the world around you and that input from sense consciousness and just calling that real and that's all there is. Because that's not true. That's false. And so I went deeper to back up this statement. And indeed it is, holding water. It is a fact. I found our visible world is only 4% of the total electromagnetic spectrum. 96% is invisible. It exists in waves of energy. Think about that. What you see is only 4% of all that actually exists. Now, the name of the show is the Genesis frequency, remember? Because it's all about frequency and vibration and moving into the energy and the frequency of the life we've loved to live. And this is for you as an individual, a small business owner, or in your corporate environment working on corporate goals or corporate culture or whatever it is you want to create in the future, in the foreseeable future, this year even. So it's all about energy and frequency. We have to move into it now. It can't remain as something that we designed and we want to get to. We have to start from the end, the energy and the frequency of the end. I'm reminded of it was very popular and a very successful, successful campaign years ago by the Avis car rental company, and it was we're number two, so we try harder, right? I don't know, maybe you remember that. I'm probably dating myself, but Hertz was always in that number one spot, and Avis came along and said, "We're number two, so we try harder." Now, that's great for an advertising campaign, but when it comes to energy and culture, you can rest assured that that culture and that atmosphere within that corporate environment and structure, all the way from, you know, front frontline consumer facing employees all the way up to the corporate level, they weren't walking around in the energy of we're number two. They were walking around in the energy of we're number one. We're number one. Now, we see this a lot too in sporting events. Look at college games, for instance. How many times do we see, we may even be a team with a losing record, but all the students and the fans in the seats, they're holding up that one finger, right? That one index finger. We're number one. We're number one. They're in the energy of being number one, right? You don't see them holding up, hey, number, five fingers. Hey, we're five. We're in fifth place. We don't do that. And that's an unconscious response. Hey, we're number one. That's that herd consciousness and saying, yeah, I'm aligned with a winner. And we have to take that kind of energy, that spirit of that fan base, that student body, that energy that we're number one, that energy that we are worth it. We don't have to give in to our worries and our doubts and our fears. Let me continue with this 96% versus 4% and some of the research I found. It says, and this is from space.com and a well-respected author named Clara Muskowitz. She's a science and space writer at space.com. She has her degrees in astronomy and physics from Wesleyan University. She says all the stars, planets, and galaxies that can be seen today make up just 4% of the universe. The other 96% is made of stuff that astronomers can't see, detect, or even comprehend. These mysterious substances are called dark energy and dark matter. Astronomers infer their existence based on their gravitational influence on what little bits of the universe can be seen. But dark matter and energy themselves continue to elude all direction. And this from Richard Panik, who spoke on this and at the Graduate Center of the City University of New York. He said the overwhelming majority of the universe is who knows question mark. And he went on to say, it's unknown for now, possibly forever. So I want to invite you in to go further with this and develop it in your own consciousness and, in fact, using the power of your intuition. Now, dark matter is called, dark matter. We automatically go to Star Wars and all that, right? But dark matter is called dark because it does not appear to interact with the electromagnetic field. It means it doesn't absorb, reflect, or emit electromagnetic radiation, and it's difficult to detect, if it even is detected. So we have this infinite, just because it's the other 96%, it's not limited to, there's no limit to it. It's infinite in scope. And I invite you in to just consider this and consider how powerful you are in all of this. And as these podcasts are intended to be of assistance to you, of a coaching dynamic, a consulting dynamic, um, not so much motivational. This is motivational as far as I'm concerned, because I want you to just see what you've done with only the 4% that is visible, measurable, and quantifiable. And most of us are only aware of a fraction of that 4%. Most aren't even aware of that fraction of the 4%. And that's just from our limited human perspective. Most walk around aware of less than probably 1% of that. That's what we call the unconscious competence. They're moving about, they're calling everything around them real, and they're getting by. That's an unconscious competent. When we move into this field of personal and professional development and human potential development, we start to expand our awareness of all that is. Now, that doesn't mean we understand all that is. We just become more and more aware. And so, what I'm doing here in this episode is inviting you to set an intention to become more aware of, engage with, connect with, and access the higher realms of the infinite available to you, within you, and that actually you are made of. So this all goes back to, hey, I want to be aware of it. You don't have to understand all of it. You just have to know and accept that it exists. Something that until now humankind has been unable to put its finger on, to define, but it's there. And call it what you will. I choose to call it the infinite spirit, the divine, God's substance. And we hear about this substance from the earliest writings of humankind. Substance, this invisible substance that's as plastic, that's moldable, that we can mold and shape and form using the power of our mind, the power of our imagination, and tapping into what is ours to do by using the power of our intuition. So consider yourself as one of this infinite pressing out into visibility as you, knowing you are made of this. And you have within you, at your disposal, infinite potential, infinite wisdom, infinite abundance, infinite intelligence, infinite power, infinite and eternal life, infinite support and guidance, infinite joy. Just consider these things. I'm not asking you to understand all of these things. And you might say, well, what do you mean infinite and eternal life? Or any of these, for instance. So many people think, well, we got to die first and then we enter into eternal life. No, we are eternal, infinite in spirit right here, right now. Eternal life has already been begun a long, long time ago for all of us. Step into an awareness of the infinite. Now, the infinite is almost impossible for our human minds to comprehend. But just know that you are of the infinite, and just look at one of these things. That my potential is infinite, and my whole point of all this is to getting you to move to that infinite, like there is no box thinking, is to get you to move within, in infinite, infinite, the infinite you, that infinite potential. And when we do that, we can move into the possibility of ridding ourselves of fears, of doubts, of worries. And those are the biggest obstacles when it comes to moving into the life we would love to live for us personally, for our professionally in our careers, for our corporation, within our corporate culture, with what we want to achieve. Worry, doubt, and fear and limiting beliefs, limiting attitudes, limiting culture. These all get in our way. But when we come from the infinite and think from the infinite, when we think from all things are possible, when we think not that our lives are limited, but infinite possibilities exists within this field of infinite potential, everything changes. I love, as I started the information that I've shared with you, which started with a little tiny section of the book I've been studying by Dr. Wayne Dyer, titled Your Sacred Self. That's where the realism versus the idealism idea came from for me to share with you. I got to another section and talking about these worries and doubts and fears. Now, I've done plenty of podcasts on worry. You can probably just go to the website and search on worry, the genesisfrequency.com. Because worry, I believe, worry is just really building out the model of the life we don't want to live and moving into that energy. It's just really the negative side of the coin. This show is all about what you want to be, do, and have in your life. This show is about making quantum leaps and radical personal transformation in relation to all you wish to be, do, and have. Now, worry is the flip side of that. Worry is actually praying for what you don't want to come true because when we worry, what do? We hold it as a dominant thought in mind. We wrap it with feeling and emotion. And when we want to make manifest something we really, really do want, I've encouraged you to do the same thing with what you do want. Oh, I would really, really, really love to have whatever maybe that sum of money is, or more something intangible, more that loving relationship, or that ideal weight, or that house on the beach, or whatever it is, to wrap yourself in that energy. Let it be a dominant thought. Use your imagination to move into the ideal, right? Well, the flip side of the coin, worry is, oh, it's thinking about something that doesn't exist. It's something that may not even happen, but we emotionalize it. We move into it with that feeling energy. We move into the negative experience that our mind has developed and imagined. And in many cases, we can move into that in what we call our real experience, right? So let's put worry aside for right now. So it's that fear and that doubt. But doubt seems to diminish and even vanish when we think from the infinite. And Dr. Dyer shares a few things. He says, well, we can look at our fears now and say, well, we can analyze them. And I'm going to pick it up and just share some of these because it's so good. He said, things that we most commonly fear can be explained away by lengthy research and investigation, or fear can be eradicated with one short and simple statement. And he goes on to say that he's chosen the second way, hoping to stun us with the simplicity of eliminating fear. And he gives us some really good points here. Let me share this with you as we wrap up today's episode. He says, how about the fear of failing? Get rid of it. You cannot fail at anything. Everything you do produces a result. It is what you do with the results that counts. Labeling yourself a failure is meaningless. Fear of disapproval. Get rid of it. You do not need external validation. You are a divine creation of God. Your path is unique and special. The opinions of others will invariably be judgmental. When you know that you are on a spiritual mission, you become independent of the good opinion of others. Get on with your purpose. Fear of suffering, get rid of it. You cannot suffer when you know your sacred self. Only the person you imagine yourself to be suffers. Your joy is divine, and so is your suffering. All of the woe is a part of God's plan, bringing transcendent wisdom when you stop judging it. A couple more here. Fear of isolation. Get rid of it. You can never be alone. When you know this, you will never fear loneliness. There is a gigantic support network of loving souls with you on a similar path. Know that to be true. Stay focused on your purpose and forget about feeling isolated. When you do this, all of the guidance and love that you need will begin to be known by you. Fear of looking foolish. Get rid of it. When you are doing the work of the higher self, you are always on purpose. Whether others judge you as foolish or not is irrelevant. Fear of success. Get rid of it. Replace the fear with knowing that you deserve any prosperity or abundance that comes your way. Know that when you are on the way of your sacred quest, external measures of success will appear. Your success, however, is an inner matter. It is your personal feeling about yourself, and certainly you do not want to be afraid of yourself. Isn't that powerful stuff? I mean, fears. We can usually find something that we're afraid of in one of these things I just shared with you from Dr. Wayne Dyer. And when we move out of that fear and consider that our potential is infinite, that we have access to infinite wisdom, infinite abundance, infinite intelligence, infinite power, infinite and eternal life, infinite support and guidance, and infinite joy, it's only a matter of changing our mind. It's only a matter of going within. Now, I shared some of his writings, which mentioned sacred and God and the divine. And, this isn't about religion. This is all about those terms we can interchange with your own personal experience of the infinite. And I just shared with you, science comes together with this cosmic, mystical energy and says, hey, we don't know what this is. We only see a fraction of it. We're only aware of a fraction of a fraction of that. We can't identify and we can't comprehend or understand what the rest of this is. More reason to get out of what you are calling real, to step out of perhaps being an unconscious competent and consider living your life from the infinite. Wow. I think this is really, really powerful stuff. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Comment wherever you are hearing my voice. Comment on it. We're out of time for today. You can also reach out to me. Get on my calendar. Successappointment.com opens up my calendar in your time zone, and we can have a conversation about what you want to be, do, and have in your life, personally, professionally, in your career. You want to talk about workshops. You want to talk about programs. Or you just want to have a conversation with me about getting past what's keeping you stuck. Let's do it. Successappointment.com. For your company, go to successocean.com. We do all kind of workshops and training around all this that I share on this show. And if you love personal and professional development, as I do, and you'd love to step into that laptop and cell phone lifestyle, working anywhere in the world, go to successocean.biz and .biz, successocean.biz, and check out the latest video that I posted in there. For now, we're out of time. I want to remind you, you've been listening to The Genesis Frequency. And this is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, wishing you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.